World's Finest number 8, written by Paul Levitz, art by George Perez, Cafu, and Cliff Richards. So, last issue was a whole thing where Helena met Damien and they had a little bond. This issue, completely separate, kinda. So, we open up with Helena walking around New York and she's getting a slice of pizza, getting some dessert, and she's like, this is pretty good. I'm having a good time. Things are all right. What could possibly go wrong? And she makes her way into her apartment building, and we see she's being followed by two men who follow her there. And she gets her huntress gear on. She uses her grappling hooks to exit through her skylight. And as soon as she gets out there, she is shot in the shoulder by a sniper rifle. And she starts, ducking, dipping, diving, trying to call Karen, not getting any answer, and just like, okay, clearly I'm going to have to deal with this on my own. Also, this identity is toast, so going to have to start a new one. But as she is on the rooftop, she prowls around, and the guy makes a call on a phone to Khalil, which she's like, who is he on the phone with? I need to recognize this. So she takes a shot at him, gets him in a headlock. But as they're doing so, we see a sniper on the roof opposite of them. She manages to see the sniper first before the guy gets the shot. She fires off a crossbow, jams his gun, and starts chasing him down. However, unable to do so. He manages to get away as she is bleeding out a lot on this rooftop. She's unable to even stay awake. So then we get a little nightmare sequence where it's her. Remember, she was the daughter of Batman and Catwoman on her Earth. And we see her basically in the shadow of Batman, who's like, it was only a 10-foot drop. You got to get up. You got to, you get over it. Falling is not an option. So then we see her being loaded into an ambulance, mask still on. And they're basically saying, like, yeah, it turns out she's an Interpol and she matches a bunch of descriptions. So we're going to go ahead and bring her in now. But then Karen finally answers the call, swoops in, grabs her, and takes her away. And we get another nightmare sequence of her talking to her mom. And her mom's like, hey, look, I understand you hurt your leg, you hurt your foot when you fell. But, sleep, listen to your body. It'll tell you what you want. But you're in control of things, no one else. So we then get some amount of time later. Helena wakes up in Karen's private hospital. And basically she's like, okay, here's the thing. I'm going to help take care of this. I'm going to deal with this. You just rest. So Karen gets some information from her assistant as to where the guy was that Helena did manage to take down. Turns out he is in police custody in some sort of prison way out in the desert. She just shows up, rips off the door to his jail cell, grabs him by the collar and just says, like, here's the deal. I'm going to drop you from real high up unless you tell me who you were working for. Count of 3. 1, 2, and then we get another nightmare sequence where we see Helena is imagining she heard her parents, and this might actually be a conversation where basically Batman's saying, like, just give her another year of training. I can't have her out there. She's not ready yet. And Catwoman's like, I was much younger than her when I was already scraping by on my own. She'll do fine. You don't put enough trust in her. So then we see Karen has gotten the information that she needs. She is in the nation of Kufra, and I'm just going to head all this off at the pass. This is literally following up the 6-issue miniseries of Huntress, where she got a $1 billion bounty on her head. Sorry, billion euro bounty on her head, and then just left for America. So that's catching up with her, and this is following that exact same plot. So, yeah. Anyway, Karen shows up. They attack her with some tanks. She just bashes them around. There's a whole lot of, in the name of Allah, be merciful, which, I don't know, it strikes me as weird. It's not necessary to this story, and it strikes me as weird that everyone is doing that. And Karen is basically saying, no, there is no God here, only me, as she crushes these grenades in her hand. So she flies off to the royal temple or whatever, because it turns out the guy who placed the bounty has basically fallen to Ibn Hassan, who is in charge of the country. So she just busts in, uses her x-ray vision, sees him hiding out in a safe room, just be like, cool, that makes this part easier. Goes over to where he's hiding. He thinks he's safe. Pulls the entire safe room out of the building, drops it on a nearby mountain, and then rips off the door and just like, so, let's talk about that bounty on my friend's head. And that's where we leave off, except for one epilogue page where Alfred is cleaning Damien's boots. And Batman's like, I think Damien may have gone a little bit farther than Gotham. I think we need to have a word with him about where he's going. So Batman might meet up with Helena. Maybe. I don't know. I'm okay with this. I think it's okay that Huntress basically rolled right into the world's finest plots. And the fact that we're going back and dealing with this fact that she had a $1 billion bounty on her head, yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that is a reasonable progression from A to B. I do wish that they would do a little bit better job of reminding me that that's what happened, because it has been pretty much a year since then, like better part of a year, and I didn't think we were going to come back to it. So I completely kind of wiped that part from my memory. So I think they could have done a little better job of like, by the way, here's this thing that happened and here's the reasons why. As it is right now, it's just Huntress is for some reason wanted by this random Middle Eastern country, and it's not exactly explained why. But of course it is if you read the book. So overall, I'm going to give this one I'll give it like a 6.5. It just felt a little bit disjointed, a little bit weird. Art-wise, it's fine. It didn't seem like there were 3 artists. If anywhere, it's probably in the first pages, the Nightmare pages, and the back pages are all different artists, but I couldn't tell you who did what. So I didn't object to any of the art on page. None of it was that bad, but I could definitely tell there was a difference between them. But overall, yeah, 6.5. And I guess Batman may show up some more. Who knows?